Well, we got certainly some things to talk about, including a hot take, as I alluded to at the top,
Ooh.
from one of my favorite Jets when he was a Jet during his 5 seasons. Kerry Rhodes, of course, former safety with the team. This was Kerry Rhodes, a guest on the Gangs All Here podcast with our friends Frankie V and Ryan Sampson, talking about his expectations for the Jets this season.
Kerry, Ryan wants some betting advice. He wanted to bet the over before. He's like,
Oh no, Ryan, bet the over.
Wow. Okay. Just like that, huh, Kerry?
That's it.
Bet the over. This team is
Wow.
This is my sleeper team for the year, and I don't take that lightly at all. I've already been on the record at my, I'm at Fox Sports, so I have my own show on Sundays on Fox Sports, and I said they're my sleeper team. I said they're going to finish second in that division. So
Ooh.
I think they have a chance to surprise a lot of people. You talk about maybe 9 wins, maybe 10. Like that's going to be right
Ooh.
at that. That's going to be right at that. That's a lot, but
Kerry, that's a 6-win improvement, my man. You see that happening?
Oh no, 100%. I think this team offensively they're more structured to be successful. And you talk about them playing complementary football. Defense is going to be fine if they can get some turnovers and win a couple of games that they shouldn't win. I could see them winning 10 games for sure. So I'm on the bandwagon early. You guys are hearing it here. I think they have a chance to make the playoffs.
Do they have a chance to make the playoffs? Sure. He's predicting them to make the playoffs, called them his sleeper team. Full disclosure, I hope he's right. I really do. I love Kerry Rhodes. I just don't see how the Jets are going to go from 3 wins to 10 and make the playoffs. But Nick, you're the perfect guest for this because you are an eternal optimist. So I know you're buying what Kerry Rhodes is selling there. Explain how the Jets become a playoff team this year.
Shout out to Kerry Rhodes for watching the Nick Shine show and quoting me basically word for word there. I mean, when you let's break it down though, right? It's not just saying it to say it. Like there's complementary football, I think, that we're going to see. When you break down the defense, we'll be better at the run, which will create longer passing situations. And we're built for that now with Bailey and McDonald as a duo. Offensively, we have the offensive line in place. We gave Fields a lot of time to throw last year. He just didn't throw the ball. Now you have Geno who will release it. You have the multiple tight ends. You have the running back stacked. That room is stacked. And now you add, we have a 1, and a 2 as our top 3 receivers. We have a 1 and a 2 as our top 2 tight ends. We should be able to do some exciting things on offense. Will there be inconsistency issues? Sure. I'm not saying we're going to be a 12-win team, but I think if this team stays healthy and you're building your team to stop the run and then to have these 2 speed rushers off the edge. We saw Will McDonald be a factor last year in the Pittsburgh game when it was close, in the Cleveland game, in the Cincinnati game, but we didn't have a lot of close games. Now you're adding someone who theoretically should be a better pass rusher, if not right away, but long-term in Bailey, to Will McDonald and making him the second rusher. There could be complementary football within the Jets. The defense could get stops. The offense could get out there. We could be playing with a lead sometimes. I think that it's not crazy to think there's going to be better football. And, a lot of us want the in the hunt logo, right? We want to just be after Thanksgiving. Can we be in the hunt? Can we not be eliminated before, mid-October like we've been many years and last year? So I'm one of those people that think if everything falls right, 8, 9 wins, the ball bounces your way, someone else makes the late game blunder instead of us. I think that could be our ceiling, 8 or 9. Now, if you win games you're supposed to, and you get those tiebreakers, maybe you take the Charger game, which could be an important tiebreaker down the road for a wild card. You got Denver as well and Kansas City. I don't think we're going to beat all of them, but you never know how the wild card's going to break out. You never know when other teams are going to have injuries. You never know when other teams are going to have a system or a scheme or coaching that just falls off. So I think our ceiling is 8, 9 wins. So I'm on board with this, man. I until it's not possible, I'm going to think it's possible.
Playoffs, 8, 9 wins. 9 maybe. Chances are you need 10. He's saying playoffs. Do you think this is a playoff team?
I mean, they would have to play perfect. Geno would have to be Geno from 2 years ago. And I think with the weapons that we have, I think we're going to see a lot of explosive plays, something we haven't seen in a while. Everything would have to come together perfectly. And there's times where 9-win teams make the play. There's times where a 9-win team wins a division. So we don't immediately know what the benchmark is to make the playoffs. But if you're at 9 wins, you're in contention and playing important football in December. And I think every single Jet fan will sign up for competitive football in December with a chance to get in after what we've seen the last decade.
So that I agree with. But when he says, the Jets are his sleeper team and they're going to make the playoffs, they're going to win 9 or 10 games. He also said later in the full interview that he thinks the Jets are the second best team in the AFC East. Their path to actually making the playoffs, if you want to entertain the conversation, is to be the second best team in their own division. If you don't beat division opponents, you don't have a chance. The Jets last year did not win a single division game. Miami has owned them, and Miami is supposed to be a team that's not any good this year, like the Jets. They're tanking, everyone keeps saying, right? You got to beat the Dolphins twice. Can you get a win against New England? Can you get a win against Buffalo? Can you find one win there, beat the Dolphins twice, and at least be 3-3 in your division? Like, if you want to entertain the Jets being a playoff team, he casually throws out there, well, they could win a game or two that they're not supposed to, as if that's easy. The Jets never do that. That's why they're the Jets. So that has to change. Otherwise, when I hear him say the Jets are a sleeper team, unfortunately, I think of this.
So Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 prospects as Aaron Glenn looks on for the Jets. Fernando Mendoza 1. Jeremiah Love, who we'll also see on Saturday here on NFL Network, the running back from Notre Dame 2.
That's what I think of.
Well, listen, are we a team that if you say we're a playoff team, everyone's going to agree? No. Is there a lot of things that have to improve to even be in that conversation? Yeah. But I mean, I don't think you can look at this roster. If you take away them being the Jets and you look at the roster, I think this is one of the better rosters we've had in recent memory, since the 15 team. Now, that's not a high bar to clear, but I think that what they're doing with development, and they have the 3 pieces on the offensive line in place long-term. You got the 3 weapons at the top with Wilson, Cooper, and Mitchell, all premium picks. You have your tight ends, both premium picks. You have your running back who just got an extension. You got Braylon Allen, who should be a nice compliment to him. It's there. If you had a Matthew Stafford or a Joe Burrow with this roster, they'd be talking about probably one of the best offenses in football. Now, granted, it's Geno, but I don't think it's crazy to say we should be a middle-of-the-pack offense, a middle-of-the-pack defense, and certain games can go our way, and we're going to win more than people think. Also, you said earlier that the Jets don't ever win games. Jake, any game that we win, we're not supposed to. Any win that we've gotten, we're not supposed to get.
Well, I mean, look, they got to change the narrative. It starts week 1 when you and I are going to be down in Nashville for that. Get off to a good start, build some confidence, and this fan base wants to believe. They just need to be given a real reason to believe, and I think that's a big part of all this. Again, I hope Kerry Rhodes is right, but I think he's very casual on, well, they just won a couple games they're not supposed to. The defense, he's like, it will be better. Like, yeah, of course it will be better. It was 32nd in the league last year. The head coach said play calling is his superpower. It better be better. He's taken over that side of the ball. I think we all agree that Geno, even if he's not what he was in Seattle, is so much better than anything we saw last year. So there's some things to point to, real improvement. But this league is still about who your coach is and who your quarterback is. And unfortunately for us Jet fans, the 2 biggest question marks, I think, with this team are what Geno has left and if Aaron Glenn's just a good coach or a competent coach at any capacity going into his second year.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't all start with Glenn. I think adding Reich to this coaching staff and having a veteran and having someone who's been a head coach and having somebody that he can rely on and have someone that he can trust with the offense will be a big benefit for this roster and us as fans. Now, I like Glenn going back to his comfort zone. I don't think he was comfortable just being the head coach last year. I think he'll be more comfortable being more involved in the game. Will that lead to an improved defense? We'll see. I mean, you look at the talent that we've added, you look at the leadership that we've added, you look at the playmakers that we've added, and the potential with, Pons and Bailey coming in as well. And let's not forget Jackson, who's going to help on the defensive front. You look at the effort that they made to get better on the defensive line in order to let Bailey and McDonald do what they can do. You can't have 3rd and 3s. You can't have 3rd and 2s. You got to be able to stop the run. You got to be able to have 3rd and 8s or longer, and then have these guys be able to change the game with their speed rushing. You're not going to be able to stop both of them.
All right, Asmaniacs, listen up for a second. No matter what you're watching, whether it's New York sports or any game you didn't plan on caring about, there's no better way to stay locked in than with PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made simple. You're just picking more or less on player projections. That's it. No complicated lineups, no nonsense. Just you versus the numbers. And here's why I love it. Even if it's a game you normally wouldn't care about, once you got a lineup going, you're locked in. Every play matters, every drive matters, every at-bat matters. I've been mixing sports too. Maybe a little football, throwing some baseball, maybe some basketball, and now you've got action across the board all night, and PrizePicks makes it even better with features like early cash outs if your picks are hitting, the ability to mix multiple sports in one lineup, and you can even see what other people are playing and tail their picks. So if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? Download the PrizePicks app right now. Use code HMA. That's HMA, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's HMA on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. Kashmir says, what rookie do you think has a chance to be a Pro Bowler this year and can make a huge impact on offense or defense this year? If I can only pick one of the Jets rookies that I think has the best chance to make the Pro Bowl, I'm taking David Bailey. I'm taking Bailey. They said he was the most ready to go pass rusher. David Bailey would be my pick. There's too much projection with Sadiq. There's too much relying on Geno Smith for Omar Cooper and Sadiq for that matter. Pons I like, but how often does a second-round corner make a Pro Bowl? To me, it's the number 2 pick in the draft. If I had to take one that has the best shot at it, I'd go David Bailey.
I would go Sadiq since you took Bailey. And I think that, this is a guy who's also a person who should be at the top of his position very quickly in this league in the next couple of years. He should be in that discussion. And, listen, Geno gets the ball out, man. Yeah, Geno throws the ball, whether it's we're down or whether it's just how the things fall. I think Sadiq's going to very quickly, maybe by the end of the year, be in the discussion of one of the better tight ends in football. Maybe not in the top 5, but I think he will start rising week after week. We're going to see some spectacular plays over the middle. I think if I would take Bailey, but just to have someone different, I'll go with Sadiq.
I probably would go with Sadiq as my second option because we have seen the young tight end come into the league last couple of years and blossom. I'm not saying Sadiq's going to be Brock Bowers, but I do think if I wasn't going to go Bailey, I think I would go with Sadiq as my second option. I think there's something to that.
Yeah, there's both of these guys should be right when you're drafted here, like with Membo. When you're drafted that high, you should be in the discussion of one of the best in your position in the foreseeable future. That's how it works. I know we're not used to that with so many draft bombs that we've had, but I mean, these guys are extremely talented. They played at big time programs. They should be able to make an impact on the field and quickly.
Super chats, cut the line. Addy in the house. He says, role reversal. Jake, 3 things that give you hope for the season. Nick, 3 things that concern you. I love you. Nick Shine. That's a great question. What gives me hope
really
is the offensive line. I think if you have a good offensive line, your quarterback has a chance unless he's Brady Cook or Justin Fields who just can't throw. I think Geno's a professional. So the offensive line gives me some hope. I think the just veteran leadership they added in general gives me some hope. I think Demario Davis and Minka are huge for that defense. Full year of Harrison Phillips here, working with a guy like Tavondre Sweat, I think is a positive. Obviously, the offense has some young talent that could take a step forward, but I think they needed some better leadership there. And, the last thing that gives me some hope is I think Frank Reich is a pro, and at least we'll have a professional offensive operation. So I'd go with that as my final thing. There's some others I can come up with, but those are the first things that stood out to me. And now you got to be the negative guy, Nick Shine. What are the concerns you have?
All right. So if I got to put on my Jake Asman hat here, the offensive line health. Last year, we had them start every game together. The chances of the Jets doing that back-to-back years is probably going to be slim to none. So who and for how long guys miss time is going to be a concern with me with that offensive line, because everything that we want to do is going to be based off of them. And I'm not in love with the depth that we have. So I'll say the offensive line. I will say Geno's off the field concerns, and will they roll over, or will more come out? And how is that going to impact with the team chemistry and training camp? That's something to keep an eye on. I know when Geno plays, he'll throw the ball, but I'm hoping that there's not storylines off the field that are taking over the Jets on the field play, which we've seen in many years. And I will say something that concerns me: not having an elite corner. You know, we have guys who are all role players in the secondary, and are there going to be games where we just get picked on because we don't have that top of the line corner that we can throw on a top of the line wide receiver? So I think they're going to have to rely more on scheme, but that does concern me that you can't throw your 1A on their 1A and just worry about the other 10 guys on offense. And damn, Addy, that sucked. Don't ever make me do that again.
Great question, Addy. That is
great. That was fun.
That was very well done. Doc Jet fan in the raffle for 2. He's our first person on the wheel. Again, 18 to go. If we're going to spin the wheel at the end of this show for a signed helmet by Wesley Walker and our guy, Marty Lyons, who I think I've mentioned this, but for those who maybe were away, didn't remember, for the second year in a row, we will be broadcasting our show from the Marty Lyons charity golf outing on Long Island at the end of this month. We raised a bunch of money last year for Marty's foundation, so we're going to try and do that again. We'll have a bunch of Jet legends who are going to be there, join us in person for the second year in a row, so that'll be at the end of the month, but we're going to do some charity stuff for Marty at the end of the month. And I'm working with a guy who is a Titans YouTuber, longtime radio guy in the market, Jared Stillman. Want to do something for CJ, Chris Johnson, former Jet, Titan, obviously, ALS, raise some money for an ALS foundation ahead of Jets Titans week 1. So we got some charity endeavors coming up over the next few weeks. So stick around for additional information on that. Shout out to our dear friend Rick Kent, who is the first to gift memberships this afternoon. It's about to be the afternoon. Rick Kent in the Asmaniac raffle for 5. Let's go.
And here we go. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.